All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. You know how this works. We take one juicy piece of research and we really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're diving into a brand new study all about smartphones
Okay.
and mental health.
Interesting.
And I gotta say, I found the findings
Yeah,
pretty surprising.
I bet.
So basically what this study did was they looked at
Okay.
what happens to your mental health when you limit your phone use
Yeah.
to just calls and texts.
Like a mini digital detox.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
just using it for like its most basic functions.
Right, right.
And get this, the results suggested that even this like partial disconnection can really
Mm,
boost your well-being.
that's fascinating, because we're so used to being constantly connected these days.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like our phones are practically extensions of ourselves at this point.
Yeah, and the study even went so far as to say that the mental health benefits were like comparable to the effects of antidepressants.
Whoa, hold on. Now that's a pretty bold statement.
Right.
What exactly did they find?
I know.
It doesn't mean, obviously, that we should all ditch our meds and just start ignoring our phones, right?
Yeah, of course.
But it is super interesting that the improvements people reported in this study were on par with what some studies have found with antidepressants and therapy.
Crazy.
It's
isn't
like a wake-up call, you know? It shows that sometimes just changing our lifestyle
Mm.
can have a huge impact on how we feel.
Totally. And, speaking of how we feel, this study actually went into detail about some specific improvements that participants experienced.
Oh, like what?
So people reported sleeping better, feeling more connected to others,
Interesting.
and having way more self-control.
Huh. That's really something. I mean, those are things that so many people struggle with.
I know, right? It's like the holy grail of like well-being,
Absolutely.
Right.
So what do you think it is about cutting back on internet use
Yeah.
that leads to these changes?
Well, it makes sense when you think about it. Like constantly being online can be totally overwhelming.
Oh, totally.
It's like our attention is pulled in a million directions at once.
Right, and you're always getting bombarded with notifications and updates.
Exactly. And then like there's the whole social media thing.
Oh, yeah, constantly comparing yourself to others.
Yeah, and just this feeling like you need to be available 24/7.
Yeah,
It's exhausting.
it's like you never get a break.
Exactly. So I think by limiting their internet use,
Yeah.
people were finally able to like declutter their minds and just create space for
What?
rest, for connection, for like
Hi.
feeling more in control.
I see, I see. So it's like hitting the reset button on your brain almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just about what they stopped doing, right? The study also talked about
Yeah.
how people started spending their time differently.
Yeah, that's the really cool part. So instead of scrolling,
Right.
they were picking up old hobbies,
Mhm.
spending time with friends and family in person.
Like real, actual FaceTime.
Yes,
Yeah.
face to face. And get this, they were even spending more time in nature.
Wow. It sounds so simple, but sometimes we really need that reminder to just disconnect
Yeah,
and reconnect with ourselves and the world around us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like we forget how good those things feel when we're constantly plugged in.
So how did they actually do this study? Like, how did they get people to limit their phone use?
Oh, that's interesting. They actually had participants
Mm-hmm.
use an app that completely blocked internet access on their phone.
Really? Like a full-on internet blocker?
Yeah, for 2 whole weeks.
Wow, that's commitment.
I know, right? But here's the thing. Even people who didn't totally stick to the 2 weeks, like,
Yeah.
they still saw some improvement.
Really? That's encouraging. So even just small changes can make a difference.
Exactly. It's not like an all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
And the study goes even further than just pointing out the problem.
Mhm.
It actually offers some really practical tips for how to reduce your internet use.
Like what?
So, like, obviously there are apps that block access, but they also talk about changing your notification settings.
Oh, yeah, those can be a real distraction.
I know, right? And then there's using the focus modes.
Oh, yeah, focus modes
Ew.
on your phone.
I've been meaning to try that.
And even just changing your phone's color scheme to be less stimulating,
That's a good idea.
so it's not so tempting to pick it up all the time.
Interesting. Any of those stand out to you as being particularly helpful?
Honestly, I really like the idea of gradually increasing your offline time.
Oh, yeah, baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like a gentler approach.
Definitely.
And I feel like you're more likely to stick with it if you don't go cold turkey.
Yeah, you're more likely to make it a habit.
Yeah.
As you were describing all this, I couldn't help but think about my own relationship with my phone. It's a lot sometimes.
Totally. It definitely makes you stop and think
Yeah.
about your own habits.
I think that's the power of this kind of research.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it makes us question the things we take for granted, like our relationship with the technology
Sure.
and how it might be affecting us. It's an invitation to be more mindful, I think,
I totally agree.
and to see if maybe, just maybe, there are small changes we can make
Yeah.
that could have a big impact on our lives.
So we've come to the end of our deep dive today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what really sticks with me is that something as simple as
Yeah.
changing how we use our phones
Right.
could have such a huge effect on our mental health.
Absolutely.
It's like, what other small changes are out there
Mm.
that we haven't even thought of yet
Right.
that could make a real difference?
That is the question, isn't it?
It really is. Something to think about, for sure.
Yeah. And something for all of us to keep exploring.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.